Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavare Pasyadya Deshatharine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavare Pasyadya Deshatharine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktarinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktarinda Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Chanavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Gopi Chanavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamunatira Vanachali Jaya Kunja Yamunatira Vanachali Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gaura Nitai, 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 Jaya Nitai, Sachi Sundar Nitai, Sachi Sundar Nitai, Sachi Sundar, Jaya Nitai, Sachi Sundar, Jaya Nitai, Sachi Sundar Nitai, Sachi Sundar Nitai, Sachi Sundar, Jaya Nitai, Sachi Sundar, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jai Jai Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Ananda Koji Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, welcome Amit. Welcome, Amrita Radhamadachi. Rituan Prabhu is here?
Yes, Prabhu, he is here.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome, Rituan Prabhuji. How is your driving lesson going? Your driving test?
My test, Prabhuji, I've got one date for my final exam, like the practical driving exam, but that's in May. That too, 31st May.
May. Okay, let's pray for 24th of May, because then you take the car and whoop, Leicester. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, we'll pray that you will pass it. That
Jai.
will be nice. Okay. Amrita Radhamadaji has suggested a very nice verse from Bhagavad Gītā. Last time Amit suggested a verse. You remember what verse that was, Amit? Last Wednesday.
Yeah, Prabhu, 1 minute. I will find it for you. It was.
You don't know it by heart? In your own words?
It's verse 69 of chapter 2.
Okay, in your own words. What did it? What was the meaning?
What is a night to all ignorant beings? To the Atma consciousness, a self-controlled sage is awake, and the sensate life to which the all ignorant beings are awake. That is like night to this illuminated sage.
Do you still remember what was the meaning? In your own words, not reading.
Yeah. I mean, it's at night time is when our Krishna consciousness does come alive, and when other people are being ignorant and materialistic, and that's when you're a night. You're illuminate the sage. You are night. You are asleep to all this.
Yes. Night means ignorance. Not night as we have now, dark outside. Not this night. The night of ignorance, or the night of knowledge, or daytime of knowledge. Yes, okay, that was. You suggested that verse last week. Now Amrita Radhamadaji suggested another verse, 9:1. So let's share that screen and let's have a look at 9:1, a beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gītā. So screen is shared. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Welcome, Jayanti Bai. Hare Krishna. We're looking at Bhagavad Gītā 9:1. Amrita Radhamadaji has suggested we're looking at this verse. You can also come up with a verse next week, Jayanti Bai, Prabhu. Any verse you would like to being explained a little bit more or being analyzed, we can do that. So tonight it is 9:1. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Idam tu te guyatamam pravakshyam yanusuyave Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam Yajgyatva Mokshasya Shupat. It's a famous verse. It's a key verse. It's an important verse. And immediately we're recognizing Jnanam Vijnana. These are two very important terms. So we'll go to that a little bit later. what is Gyan and what is Vigyan. So let's read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. Like that verse last week, the devotees, introspective, sage, enlightened devotees, not the sleeping, ignorant people, sleeping in ignorance, in the night of ignorance. The enlightened devotee in the bright sunshine of enlightenment. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. These cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. So here we go. Jnanam Vijnanam. Jnanam is knowledge. It's just even academic knowledge. That is book knowledge. That's Jnanam. Vijnanam is realized knowledge. Now what's the difference? We're reading something, knowledge. Like last week, Amit, that verse, you couldn't make any sense of it at the beginning. So how does knowledge get realized? We have to practice it, right? Practical knowledge. So if you have, or we have some knowledge and someone comes with some strong argument, we might be swayed this way or that way. But if we have realized knowledge, nobody in all the three worlds can tell us it is not true. Right? If we have seen the Himalayas and we have been climbing up, maybe even on the peak of the Himalayas. Nowadays, many people climbing up. So let's say we have climbed to the peak of the Himalayas and we be back down in Leicester and someone says, no, I don't believe these Himalayas actually don't really exist. That is a mythical construct. That is not. We say, wait a minute, I have been there. I know. But if we never have been there and someone gives some clever arguments that actually the Himalayas don't exist, it's just mythology, and so then we might possibly accept that. It's just a crude example. So if we have realized Krishna, we have realized Krishna, we have seen Krishna, and someone tells us, no, Krishna, that is an imagination. It doesn't really exist. That is just for people to make them feel better. It's just a doctrine, is just an invention of the Brahmins. No, I have seen Krishna. I have realized Krishna. I know Krishna. So that is realized knowledge. So here Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely. These topics, first of all, the messages of the Supreme Personality of God. What messages? Krishna sends messages. Like we get some messages on the TV. We get messages on WhatsApp. We get on Facebook. We get messages in Messenger. And so we get many messages. But Krishna also sends messages. What are Krishna's messages? Who can say? Amit, what are Krishna's messages? Your messages on Facebook, when I post out program tonight, said, oh, immediately Gauranga has sent a message. Now, what are Krishna's message? Who can say? Anyone? Krishna's messages. Because here Srila Prabhupada said Krishna's messages.
Bhagavad Gītā shlokas.
Bhagavad Gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Brahma Samhita, many, many, many. These are Krishna's messages. So these messages, Srila Prabhupada writes, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies. Any message has a potency, even in this material world. There is a certain potency when someone WhatsApp message, perhaps with a nice picture, there's some potencies there. But Krishna's messages are full of potencies. But, who can understand? So Srila Prabhupada continues, these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. So these potencies cannot be realized by ordinary people. They don't have the key. They don't have the code. Messages sometimes are encrypted. Even WhatsApp messages are encrypted. We get that message sometimes. End-to-end encrypted. So we type the message, and as soon as we send it off, it gets encrypted in it, shobble-de-bobble. And then it travels to Amit, and when he opens it, the jumble disappears and he gets a proper message. So the Krishna's message is also encrypted. There is a key to it. Or in the Second World War, the Germans had some encrypted messages between the high command, and so it was very important. And then one Englishman, he found out how to decrypt this message. And then the English were always one step ahead. They knew exactly what the Germans will do. So Krishna's messages are also encrypted. Even so, we can read Bhagavad Gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, but if we don't have the proper key, the decryption and key, then it doesn't make any sense to us. I've met many people. They have been reading Bhagavad Gītā and they cannot make any sense of it. And some scholars even, some great academic, powerful people, they're trying to make sense of, and then they're just speculating on it. And I say Krishna, the five Pandavas, actually the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra means the body. It means this, it means it. So they cannot really understand it, therefore they have to make interpretation. And the five Pandavas are the five senses of the body. And Krishna is the mind. So many interpretations. Because they don't have the decryption key. They cannot make, they're starting to mental speculation. They're speculating. And someone else speculates something else. So the key is, it can be realized if discussed amongst devotees. Devotees are not ordinary people. I had last week someone contacted me and they were interested, and I got them all set up and sent a link, and I asked, are you coming tonight? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. So the material energy, even we have a little tiny little spark of a desire to connect with the devotees. But then the material energy, Maya, is very strong. Oh, not tonight. Tonight is Wednesday night. There is something nice on the TV. Bam. Maya 1 to 0. 1. Maya 1 again. And again and again and again. Until a person is smashed by Maya, by the illusory energy, and suffering very much. All their plans have been smashed. all the relationships have been smashed, so many problems at work, at home, wherever the turnaround, financial, this, that, then perhaps, then in the great disappointment, they remember, oh, maybe Krishna can help me out. Krishna! And then immediately the connection is made that either they just suddenly show up on a Wednesday night. Hare Krishna, can I join you guys here? Or say, come across someone who gives them a book. Or in so many other ways. So, this is unfortunate that if we don't have any strength in spiritual life, if we don't have any strong faith, if our faith is just so very, very weak, a tiny spark maybe sometimes, and only if we are in real trouble. Huh? And if things going well, then Krishna is forgotten for many years. So here Krishna says, this decryption key of the potencies of these messages. We like these potencies. These potencies are very important because these potencies can alleviate all our suffering. But people don't even believe that. Oh no, it's not possible. My suffering will be mitigated by getting more and more money. A better bank balance. If I just could find the right wife, the right husband, and so many things. A new house, a bigger house, this and that. Then I will be happy and my suffering will be non-existent. But that doesn't work out because all these plans are smashed by Krishna in the form of Kala, eternal time. Everything in this material world is deteriorating. I was just thinking today and deeply contemplating, as a devotee should be, introspective. The introspective sage. We should all be introspective. We should be. Welcome, Shushila Ben. Hare Krishna. Let me rename you. Maybe you can rename yourself next time you come. And permanently, if you like. So, welcome, Shushila Ben. So, this decryption key is an association of devotees. And these topics need discussing. What does it mean, discussing? There need to be questions, there need to be answers. There need to be comments, not just passively hearing. That has its value, of course. But discussing is even better, actively engaging in question answering. So, Srila Prabhupada contrasts that this cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. So we mentioned that mental speculators, and there are many mental speculators, all their understanding of Bhagavad Gita is just on the intellectual, mental level. They don't follow any authorities, they don't have any realization because they don't practice it. Neither do they understand what to practice. Not so easy. One has to link up with devotees. So academic scholarship is no qualification at all. Because this knowledge is realized knowledge. And devotees, they are realizing that knowledge. Why are devotees realizing that knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? That knowledge of the potencies of the Lord, of the messages, and the potency of the message. Why is there Vigyan? Why they have this Vigyan, this realized knowledge? Because they're practicing it. The academic scholars and the mental speculators are not practicing nothing. They're just reading and speculating. But the devotees, how do devotees practicing it? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex life. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That is a practice. And there's more practice. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So the angas, the limbs of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering Vishnu, Krishna, remembering Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, Madhyachi, Mam Namaskram, always think of me, become my devotee, offer your obeisances unto me. Surely you will come to me in this way. So this is a practice of the devotees. Archanam, Ati. We're doing Ati every Saturday. We miss you, Amit. Every Saturday we're doing Ati, Archanam. Doesn't matter if one puchari, one devotee is doing the Ati and the others are singing along. Everybody is participating in the Ati. Doesn't matter who is a puchari and who are the worshippers. So that is worship. Prayers. Vandanam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Vandanam. Praying. Even in our own words, my dear Krishna, please show me how to serve you better and better, so that I can serve you without any motivation of getting any return. I don't want to be a business person doing business with you. Krishna, I offer you my prayers if you can do this and that for me. That is, or even relieve me of my anxiety, give me peace. That's not pure devotional service. That has its place, yes. It's a starting point, but we should come beyond a business relationship. So these are some processes, practical processes we engage in, devotees engage in. If we cannot engage in all the 9 angas of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and so on, if we cannot engage, so at least in 8, in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, at least one. We pick at least one of these processes. If someone likes to hear, like Parikshit Maharaj, if we like to hear about Krishna, we are really keen hearing. That's why we're here tonight. We want to hear about Krishna. So if we like that, then we can become perfect just by hearing. Maharaj Parikshit became perfect by hearing. What does it mean to become perfect? To become perfect means to render, to achieve the pure devotional platform. The heart is cleansed completely, 100%. That is becoming perfect. That we be liberated. Brahma Buddha Prasanmatma na shochani na kangshati. Na shochati na kangshati. There's no more lamentation. And there's no more hankering either. Now we are all lamenting. The whole world is lamenting. Every day, everyone is lamenting about something. Oh, that's too hard. I have lost this. Or this person is stupid to me. My co-worker or my wife was cross with me. The prasadam was not as it should be. And so many lamentations we have. My husband was not nice to me. My wife ignored me today. My colleagues made fun of me. So many things are happening to us. But once we are on that spiritual transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, of Brahma, Buddha, Prasanatma, then na shochati na kangshati, then we don't lament anymore. And we don't hanker. We don't hanker also. That's the other side of the coin. Hankering, lamenting. A coin has two sides. One side is hankering, the other side is lamenting. Okay, we don't lament anymore, but we hanker. Oh, if I had this, if I had that, if I could do this, if I could do that, if it would be like this, like that. That is hankering. But on that Brahma Buddha platform, there is no hankering and there is no lamenting. And what is the result? Prasanatma, fully joyful. A joy which cannot be experienced with our mundane, miserable senses. We think we can experience some great joy by taste of the tongue, by seeing of the eyes, hearing the sound, touch, smell. And we'll try to be as sophisticated as possible to just get the most pleasure from the smell. Tons of incense of all kind of different smell. Nothing wrong about incense. When we have incense, we offer it to Krishna for him to smell, not for making our home smell nicer. If it's offered to Krishna, then the home will automatically smell nice. So smell, trying to achieve the most sophisticated, the most greatest enjoyment by smelling. But the animals do that also. Have you ever observed the dogs? In the park, people walking with the dogs, and two dogs meeting each other, people meeting each other. What they do? They smell. They smell the bottom of the other dog. Oh, the dogs, they love to smell. Every corner where a dog has been and doing his business, also smell. The dog's nose is extremely active. And Srila Prabhupada explains, each species of life, one sense is predominant. Predominant, one sense. Like the dog, the smell is highly developed. We cannot smell. The dog from far away, he can smell what's going on. There is some little molecules of some smell has entered his nostrils immediately by smell, and the dog can follow a track of someone just by the smell. Therefore, we're utilizing dogs following a person. Or the dogs are sniffing at the airport for explosives and for cannabis and for drugs and this and that. So because they have highly developed smell. Other species is different. The vulture, he has a highly developed sight. I mean, they have all the senses like we, but one sense is particularly developed. The sight of the vulture. He can be miles above, and he sees a little mouse on the ground. You can see that. We, with our eyes, are not anywhere as near as the vulture's eyes. So, any of the species of life have a particular prominent sense. So, the mental speculators and academic scholars, they're just following their senses. In the human form of life, all the senses are equally strong, very strong. The senses are very, very strong. If they're agitated, it is very difficult to resist. Very difficult. Therefore, Arjuna says, what is it? We're doing the wrong thing, but we're driven to do the wrong thing as if by force. That's what Arjuna is saying. How is it? We are forced. What is it that forces us to engage in sense gratification? And we all know that. When that modes of nature overcome us, that is very difficult to resist. When they get us, when Maya gets us, Srila Prabhupada explains somewhere in a lecture, if Maya gets you, it's very difficult to escape. It's just like you're confronting a soldier in the war. You're standing there. He stands with a gun right in front of you. So what can you do? So all senses are strong in the human form of life. And because the speculators and the academic scholars and anybody who is not a devotee, they have no realized knowledge because they don't practice. They don't have the theoretical knowledge because they don't have a spiritual master in the disciplic succession. So neither do they have proper gyan, knowledge, nor do they have realization because they don't practice nothing. So studying Bhagavad Gītā and at the same time they are meat eaters and they're woman hunters and they are gamblers and they're smoking their cigar and have their coffee, and so therefore they don't have the decryption key to decrypt the powers of the extremely potent messages of the personality of God. So what is a potency? One could ask. Everybody has some experience with some potencies. What's the potency of tea? It wakes us up. It makes us immediately, the brain is alert, and so on. So everything has a potency. And so the messages of Krishna have also are full of potencies. But these potencies, well, they also wake us up, but much, much more. They can bring us to that Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma platform, where we are Prasanatma, fully joyful. Not shochati, not kangshati, we not hanker, and we don't not lament. We are completely satisfied and bliss, in a state of existence and mind, as people try to imitate by getting drunk. Right? People want this kind of blissful state. Everybody wants that. So they're trying with drugs, they're trying with alcohol, but after they get a hangover and it's all gone and they're feeling miserable. But by blissful Krishna consciousness, there is no hangover. Ananda buddhivardhanam. In fact, that ocean of bliss is constantly increasing. We cannot imagine an ocean increasing. Well, if we go on the Pacific and ocean, maybe we're coming out of a small bay, we see the land right and left, and after some time, the land behind us disappears, and the ocean is huge. And it appears like it's never ending. Of course, it has an end, but that bliss, we can, by decrypting the potent messages of Krishna, this bliss we can experience that has no end. No end, no hangover, no end, never. And it's always increasing. We might say, I don't believe that. Well, then we are just like the bee around the closed honey pot. She smells something. There is something very sweet, but she cannot taste that nectar in the honey pot because the lid is on top. Screwed. Lid, she cannot. So that is a mental speculators. They're looking around the honey. Maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that. Neti, not this, not that. But the devotee, he has a key how to open the honey pot, and he can taste that honey. So again, very important. These messages of Krishna, these potent messages, can only be decrypted in the association of devotees because they're practicing it to various degrees. Every devotee, therefore, it needs to be discussed. Of course, if we being in the association of a pure devotee, then advancement will be like a rocket in the sky. If we get the mercy of a pure devotee, that's what we're trying to do. And that pure devotee doesn't need to be physical present. That pure devotee can be present by his instructions. Like tonight, we're reading Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purport here. That is in the association. We are in the association of a pure devotee, of a Mahabhagavat Uttama devotee, of a Nitya Siddha, an eternal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are three categories. Siddha means perfect. We spoke about how to become perfect in Krishna consciousness. So a Nitya Siddha are residents of Vaikuntha or Goloka. They never came down or fell from above. They never came in contact with the material energies. They might come down to this material world on a mission to rescue the fallen souls, like Srila Prabhupada. So these are Nitya Siddhas. And Nitya Siddha is explained from small childhood. They have never forgotten Krishna, even from small. There's a very nice quote. Srila Prabhupada says, never was there a time when I did not know Krishna. Never. He appeared in a Vaishnava family, his father being a devotee, and mother, and so on. So, born in a family of transcendentalists, of Vaishnavas, and from small childhood on. Krishna and Srila Prabhupada explained, what I'm doing now, understand what I'm doing now, Radha Yatra and so many things, I have been doing as a child. Srila Prabhupada has done Radha Yatra as a young boy. His father made a rat chariot cart, and then he gathered all his friends and they made a Radha Yatra, even as children. They pulled the cart with Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev. So Srila Prabhupada says, never was there a time when I did not know Krishna. And what I'm doing now in ISKCON, in the Hare Krishna movement, I have been doing as a child. So that is one, according to Shastra, that is one symptom of a Nitya Siddha. Even from childhood on, they're engaged in Krishna conscious activities. So, because they have never forgotten Krishna. We have forgotten Krishna. That's different. That is called a sadhana siddha. Siddha, perfection. So we are sadhana siddhas. We reviving our lost spiritual knowledge by practice of sadhana. What is that sadhana? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no gambling, no intoxication. So by doing that, regularly increasing. Hare Krishna. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, Prabhu, sorry. There was a phone call on this. I'm sorry.
That was an accident? Okay. Okay.
There was a phone call actually, Prabhu. So, incoming call, because of which.
Okay. Okay, we are sadhana siddha. We become perfect by practicing bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, getting rid of our dark spots in the heart by practice. The heart, when we chant Hare Krishna regularly and increasing the rounds, then our heart becomes purified. And we are on the way to become perfect. And there is a third category, the Kripa Siddha. He is somehow or other getting the mercy of the pure devotee spiritual master or Krishna. somehow or other. That is very special. Srila Prabhupada writes, that is very special, the Kripa Siddha. We should not rely on that Kripa. That is generally we are sadhana siddhas. The Kripa Siddha, he doesn't have to practice anything. By the mercy of Krishna and the devotees or the Acharya, he can be uplifted from a wretched condition to the highest spiritual platform in no time, without practicing even regulative principles and nothing of that. But that's not for us. Okay, so far, any comments or questions? We have just gone through one paragraph of the purport. Any questions, any comments? Amit, Amrita Radhe, Rituan. Nobody?
No questions, Prabhu. I think that was quite straightforward. I think we understood.
It's very straightforward. Amrita Radhe, you have any?
Any questions?
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, we go a little bit further. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the signs of Krishna in the association of devotees. There's a beautiful verse. What Amrita Radhe? Help me out. What's that verse? I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. Is that Bhaktaram?
Dadami buddhi yogam yam yena mam upayanti te.
Yes. How does it start, the verse? First two lines.
Just a moment, I'll just.
Maheshwaram.
We are checking.
We are just checking.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam yogam upayanti te.
Tesham satata yuktanam. Bhajatang pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamu upayanti te.
Translation.
To those whose minds are always united with me in loving devotion, I give the divine knowledge by which they can attain me.
Wow, that's a very different translation. Not so much in the meaning I have here. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. But the meaning is the same. Constantly devoted with love. Then Krishna gives us, from inside, directs us how we can come to him. Buddhi yoga, intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Okay. So Krishna is quite amazing. Krishna understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. Isn't that amazing? Krishna understands. I mean, not even our closest families sometimes, or even many times, don't understand our mentality and sincerity. And therefore there is disputes and arguments. Because if they would understand our mentality, maybe we didn't get it over properly. But if other people would understand our mentality and sincerity, there would be no argument. But there's so many misunderstandings. But Krishna is not only understanding the mentality of 1, 2, or 10 people, of everybody. And the sincerity of every living entity, of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. And therefore he gives the intelligence to understand the signs of Krishna in the association of devotees. So second time here, in the association of devotees. How important it is. Again and again and again, not on our own. In the association of devotees. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. So he gives set intelligence, buddhi yoga, buddhi, intelligence, how to come to him. Discussion of Krishna, I'm reading further, is very potent. And if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. So first of all, those who are in the association of devotees and hearing these discussions, which are very potent, then we are fortunate. And we want everybody to become fortunate. Unfortunately, most people are not fortunate, or they think they're fortunate by acquiring material assets and money and items of sense gratification. That think I'm fortunate. I got some money. I met yesterday my Muslim friend in the petrol station. They always say Hare Krishna, and we have discussed many times. And he felt he was very fortunate. He immediately had to tell me, I got a new car. And it's a hybrid. I'm driving taxi now. And in 4 years, I pay off my mortgage. And if I work very hard, so maybe in 2 years, I pay off my mortgage. And that was the talk. I said, you should, it's time to use your time to pray. Prayer is one of the angas, vandanam. He does pray and he fasts on Ramadan, which is very good. Really strict fasting. So people think they're fortunate by acquiring a new car and so on and so on. But devotees, the discussion about Krishna, they are really fortunate. They are the real fortunate people in the association of devotees. And they everybody tries to assimilate the knowledge. Right? We all try. There's never ending the knowledge to assimilate it, to understand it. Therefore, we're discussing that knowledge of Bhagavad Gītā, to assimilate it. And then once we understand that knowledge, then we're acting on it. Not just it sits in the head for the next 10,000 years. No, we have to act on it. What we understand, we have to act on it. And we're getting new realization, Vijnana. Then, Srila Prabhupada says, such a devotee will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Surely. It is sure. It is certain. If we are in the association of devotees, we properly hear, we're trying to put it into practice, we must make spiritual advancement. Continue. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. So there is knowledge in Bhagavad Gītā. There is confidential knowledge. There is more confidential knowledge. And there is a most confidential knowledge. This is a chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gītā, the most confidential knowledge. You don't share that with just anybody. You confide in someone. That's my dear friend, or my dear wife, my dear husband, I tell you something confidential. Oh, yeah, really? Okay, I trust you. Don't repeat it to anybody else. So on. That is confidential. But then I have something more confidential. So we be very careful who we entrust something more confidential. Not so blubbering it out. What to speak of most confidential, that is for those we have 100% trust and faith in. They will not use it against us. They will not gives that most confidential knowledge to anyone who is not qualified to receive it. So that is the situation here also. Most confidential. What is that most confidential knowledge? It is about pure devotion to the Lord. And what does it mean, and what are the consequences? Let's read a little bit further. It's the very beginning of Bhagavad Gītā. Srila Prabhupada explains. The first chapter is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. In the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential knowledge. You are not the body, you are the soul. This kind of topics. Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the 9th chapter, which we're just reading today, the first verse of the 9th chapter, deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Unalloyed. Very interesting choice of words. Unalloyed. An alloy. There's so many metals. An alloy is a mixture of metals. It's not pure iron. It's not pure brass. It's not pure copper. It's an alloy. It's a mixture. That we are not interested in that kind of mixed devotional service. What is it mixed with? Karma and Gyan. Right? We want Krishna. We want devotion. Yes, we have some devotion for Krishna. But we also have some devotion for fruitive activities. Karma. We engage in karma. So it's maybe 50-50. Let's say it's 50-50. 50 for Krishna and 50 I'll keep for my own sense enjoyment. So that is called, such a devotee is called a karma mishra bhakta. Mishra, mixed. Our devotion is mixed, or karma mishra bhakti. There is some mixture in it. It's not unalloyed. It's a mixture. In the metal also. So there is an alloy metal, okay, 20% copper, 40% iron, and some percentage of brass or nickel. So these are alloys. They're not pure metals. Pure metal means 100% copper, 100% brass, 100% whichever. So same with pure devotion. Not 50% karma, fruitive activities for our own enjoyment. It's not unalloyed. We can work ourselves up. Okay, it's just like feeding a small child. Amrita Rati with Padma, think some years back. Sometimes parents do this. The child doesn't want to eat, so they take a spoon, one for you, one for me. And the children are like that. Oh, daddy, mommy is eating one spoon. So the next one is for the child again. It's for you. Okay, they take because they enjoy. Parents do the same thing. They're eating one spoon, the child gets. So same with Krishna. One for me, one for Krishna. One for Krishna, one for me. 50-50. So we can increase. 2 for Krishna, 1 for me. 10 for Krishna, 1 for me. That is spiritual progress. 60% for Krishna, 40% my karma activities, my lusty desires. 80% for Krishna, 20 for me. 100% for Krishna, nothing for me. That is unalloyed pure devotion. And that's not only in the field of karma. That devotion that bhakti can be also contaminated, is the right word, with gyan, mental speculation. Yes, we'll do some bhakti, but we also like to speculate mentally. As mental speculators above So academic scholars and mental speculators. So we can be afflicted by that. Our intellect will be like. Some people say like to speculate. These intellectual speculators, they just love it. The mind is very active, and practically they don't do anything. They don't do any meditations, they don't do any yoga, they don't do any devotional service, they don't pray, they don't hear properly, they don't chant, nothing of that sort. They're just, the mind is going wild and with so many ideas, it's all absolutely useless. This mental speculation has no authority. It's just the mind is producing all this trouble. So our bhakti can be contaminated with mental speculations, and it is called jnana mishra bhakti, mixed. And the same counts here. Maybe one for Krishna, one for me, 50% for Krishna, 50% for my mental speculation, 80% I accept Krishna, 20% my mental speculation, 100% Krishna. No more mental speculation. That is pure devotion. Without any mental speculation, without desire for karma, fruitive activities. So that Krishna is explaining in the 9th chapter. Srila Prabhupada continues. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. Okay? Transcendental. We are not anymore under the modes of material nature. He therefore has no material pangs. So that is describing Brahma, Buddha, Prasanatma. No more material pangs. We spoke about that earlier. Material pangs are everywhere. And everybody's lamenting. But someone on the transcendental platform, in the transcendental position, there are no more pangs. Gone. No more misery. Only happiness. Although he is in the material world. Very difficult to understand. When the material world, must not anybody, for what is material pangs? Material pangs are material misery. We might say everybody is experiencing material miseries in this world. Can anybody say they're not experiencing material miseries? But it's very subjective, isn't it? What is misery for one person is something else for another person. It depends how we take it. It depends on our consciousness. It's not we're feeling we lose some money, just it fell out of our purse, 20-pound note, and we feel some misery, some pangs, we won't be happy. And it goes after us for quite some time. I lost 20 pounds. What could I have done with this 20 pounds? But for another person who is on that transcendental platform, he said, okay, it's lost. It comes and goes. He doesn't feel that pangs. He doesn't feel. He's absorbed in thoughts about Krishna. Okay, it's lost. What's the use of lamenting? Someone finds it and make use of it. So that is a way. Things come, things go. So he's not attached. So he doesn't feel the pangs. So therefore, it's depending on our frame of mind. It depends on our consciousness. It depends on our Krishna consciousness. It depends on our spiritual advancement. If we feel those material pangs, no. We are so much in the blissful state of Krishna consciousness that there are no more hankerings and no more lamenting. Only blissful Krishna consciousness. Also, he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that is the nectar of devotion, it is said that also one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence. He is to be considered liberated. That's interesting. He is conditioned, materially conditioned by the modes of nature. But he's considered liberated. How can we understand that? Okay. Someone has worked, we have painted the house. And you look at the painters, they always have paint on their clothing. Always. You don't see a painter, a decorator, which has not some white paint on his trousers and here and there. They have they put the same kind of trousers on, and yes, they're getting paint on it, full of paint. And they may get some paint also on their skin, on their head, on their hands, on their arms. That's natural. So let's say we're just coming from a painting shop and we're going into the shower and with a bit of soap, and the paint will be washed off in 10 minutes, let's say. So still he is in the shower. He's considered clean because only time separates us from being clean. Because if we stay in the shower for 10 minutes and we rub a little bit, then we'll be clean. So we could say we're going in the shower and we already considered clean because we are following the proper process. The process for getting clean is standing in the shower and using a little bit of soap. So it's the same. A devotee, although he is still conditioned. What does that mean? Conditioned. He can only be happy under certain conditions. If it's not too hot, not too cold, if it's like this, if it's like that, that's our conditioned state. We are conditioned by the modes of nature. If we want to be happy, we need some certain circumstances and conditions. Not we are happy under any circumstances. That's a liberated platform. We are happy under any circumstance. That is a Brahma, Buddha, Prasan, Atma platform. Under any situation, we are happy. But in our conditional state, we are only happy if it's not too hot, if it's not too cold, if it's not this and that, if we have eaten too much, too little, or if people have been nice to us, and only under so many conditions, then we can be happy. If these conditions are not met, we won't be happy. We had a miserable day. So that person who is sincere, that's a very important word. It is said, what is the qualification to become Krishna conscious? There's only one answer. Sincere desire to become Krishna conscious, to render loving service to the Lord. So that sincerity is very, very important. It's a motor of our spiritual life. Not kind of insincere. We'll do it a little bit and then we're doing something else. That's not sincere. Sincere is really deep down in the heart. We have that desire, that strong desire to render loving service to Krishna. So still we are conditioned by the modes of material nature, but if we are sincere, we have that sincere desire, we are considered liberated, because there will be only a question of time. If we carry on like that, then we'll be liberated. Liberated means to be free from hankering and lamenting, from all material unhappiness. Srila Prabhupada continues, similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gītā 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person, liberated from the three modes of material nature. Okay, we're almost there. Now this first verse has specific significance. The word idam jnanam, this knowledge, refers to pure devotional service. The whole Bhagavad Gītā is about pure devotional service, but this 9th chapter particularly is about pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities. We spoke about Sat Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Here is a translation: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. We should maintain friendship with Krishna. We should make Krishna our friend, not only our master. We have to go further, more intimate. Master, servant is one relationship, which is very good, very nice. At least God is great, or as a Muslim say, Allah Akbar. That is one relationship, to see God as a master and we as a servant. That's very good. But if we want to get more intimate, we come into friendship. It's a different relationship, very different. We're on an equal platform, seemingly. Of course, we are not. We're never equal with Krishna. But we have equal dealings like Arjuna with Krishna. Like the cowherd, the Gopas with Krishna in the forest and the meadows of Vrindavan. They don't see Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have equal. They say, here, look, Lala, my master has made me this beautiful sweet or this beautiful sandwich. And he bites in it and then he gives to Krishna, have a try. That is not how we do. So how we do. On the altar, we don't. Just imagine the puchari in the kitchen, he's starting eating from the Lord's plate and then he's offering it. We said, no, that's offense. You can't do that. So, but on that level of friendship with Krishna, there is no awe and reverence. There's no master and servant. It's friendship. Like Arjuna says to Krishna, when he sees a universal form, he understands Krishna's opulences and glories, and he says, oh, forgive me, my Lord. He becomes all awe and reverence. I have been a friend to you. We have been sitting on the same bed together. We laying next to each other to take rest. We did so many things. Now I feel so much embarrassed to understand who you really are. So Arjuna is embarrassed that he has been treating Krishna as a friend. But of course, then later on, that friendship comes back when Krishna again showed him his two-handed form and so on. So here Srila Prabhupada says, by the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. So all the rubbish needs to go. All the material contamination. Desires for karma and jnana. This is the main material contamination. Simply to understand that the living entity is not material is not sufficient. That is a starting point, but is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all the material manifestations. Now in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be further delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are envious of Krishna. Now, this might be difficult to understand. Can someone give an example of envy in this material world? What does it mean to be envious? Who can say? Anyone? Envious. What is it, envious? Example.
The Russians are envious of the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are envious of the Russians.
Yes. Any other example, Amit?
Yeah, somebody can be envious of somebody else's if they have a different car, driving
Yep.
a car.
Good example. He wants that car. Why should he have such a nice Land Rover, such a big car? His job is, he's not earning more than I earn. How can he afford such a big car? Or he must be doing some black money. So that's envy. We want that car. Why him? Why don't I have such a car? That's envy. So, but how can we be envious of God? Envious of God means
We want to become God.
That's one way. We want to become. Why should Krishna enjoy? Why should Krishna enjoy with the gopis? We also want to enjoy with the gopis. We want to have our own rasa dance. We want to have water pastimes and so many things. So many things. That is one way of being envious. But there's another way of being envious. Krishna has so many potency, so many energies. We just take it. We take it for granted. There's so many foodstuffs. We just take it. It's not our foodstuff. Who has grown the grains? We haven't grown the grains. We haven't created the cows. We haven't created the milk. We haven't created the vegetables. It's not our vegetables. It's Krishna's vegetables. It's Krishna's sunlight. It's Krishna's air we're breathing. So we want to enjoy all these things, and more and more and more. But we don't want to give credit to the Lord. We don't even recognize it. That is Krishna's. With every bite of food we're eating, with every breath of air we're taking, we don't recognize that's Krishna's. Thank you, Krishna, for supplying me air. Thank you, Krishna, for nothing of that sort. We take it for granted. That's envy. We want to enjoy Krishna's property, not our property, Krishna's property. We enjoy it without a second thought. That's envy. Everybody does, except the devotees, because they're thinking of Krishna all the time. So, Srila Prabhupada says, even if they're highly scholarly, they're all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gītā very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. Right? Useless. They write, it's not to Krishna we have to surrender. If it's to the eternal knowledge within Krishna, as if there is a within and without. Srila Prabhupada speaks on that. They have absolutely no knowledge. There is not something within, without. Krishna is the same inside, outside. Because they are envious of Krishna. They don't want to surrender to Krishna. So want to surrender to some lofty idea. That's all. So the commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gītā or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is not, if he is envious. Naturally, if one is envious, one cannot give perfect knowledge. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. Very strong words. People criticize. Even Gandhiji, he said, if that Krishna of having pastimes with the gopis and that Krishna of Kurukshetra is the same Krishna. I don't want to know anything about him. Because he found Krishna in Vrindavan, he's immoral. He puts his worldly morality on Krishna. He thought that is immoral. And he thought that Krishna on the battlefield he could relate to that Krishna. And he said, if these two Krishnas are the same Krishna, actually, I don't want to know about him. So he had no perfect knowledge of Krishna. And so many other people, they have no knowledge of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says, if one criticizes the character of Krishna, and not only the character of having pastimes with the gopis, the character of telling Arjuna, telling Yudhishthira, say a lie, Ashwatam is dead, and trickery and this and that, and people will criticize, the envious people, they criticize the character of Krishna. So such commentaries should be carefully avoided. So as devotees, we don't even want to read them. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Yes, that was that full text. Amit, any questions? Any comment?
Not really, Prabhu. I mean, it's quite straightforward. You know what you were saying today is quite understandable.
Yep. Amrita Rate. Any question, any comment? Rituan.
No, Prabhu, it's like clear. Thank you, Prabhu.
That's a beautiful verse, isn't it? That's a beautiful, beautiful verse. I actually had made some notes here that would take another hour to, I don't know, can you see these notes? Can you see that window I just opened or not visible to you?
Yes, it's visible, Prabhu.
It's visible?
Yes, Prabhu, it's visible, but small.
Yes, small.
Yeah.
Maturity in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, we can
I've-
read it.
Having heard enough Siddhanta,
Yeah.
observer. Just a few words maybe. Or maybe we leave that for next time. Yes, because it's a big topic. We are also observer. And there are various references. And that is going all of that. Various references, so that is itself another hour at least. So, okay, we are out of time, really. Was that helpful?
Yes, Prabhu, it was very helpful. Prabhu, I have just one question. Can I ask?
Please.
Yeah, Prabhu, like as you were mentioning here that like in this verse, particularly in the 9th chapter, it's about pure devotional service, which is 100% the most confidential. But what I think is like I'm talking about myself, like in spite of being in the in Krishna conscious pathway, still I feel that I have so many desires. It's not like 100%, as you were mentioning, like 30, 70, 40, 60, like that. Still I have desires. Like it feels like that. Yes, definitely Krishna consciousness is the pathway, but somewhere I feel like I'm not like dedicating 100%, or even if I try, I might think that if I dedicate 100%, I will lose a little bit of those material desires which I long for, like that.
Yes, it's like that. It's like that. It takes a bit of time without even separate endeavor, Rituan Prabhu. Without even separate endeavor, if we just carrying on with our Krishna consciousness, with our practice, with our chanting and sincere chanting, And increasing chanting should increase up to the point that we chant wherever we are, just without the beats, additionally to our 16 rounds minimum on beats, yes. But additionally, we chant while we're driving, so many things. So continuous chanting, that's called continuous chanting. We can practice that, and then more and more increasing the hearing, the depth of hearing, the interest of hearing. So really, we shouldn't be too worried about it. It takes some time, a little bit of time. Srila Prabhupada used to say to his early disciples, you're all young men. You at least expected to live another 50 years. So there were 20 at the time. So that means 70 together. So he says, 50 years is more than enough to become fully Krishna conscious. Means perfect, liberated soul. Brahma Buddha Prasanatma. So, nothing to worry. There are some material desires there that will disappear just by the process. Just like basically what you're saying here. I still have some paint on my skin. I'm standing in the shower, but I'm kind of worried if I wash off the paint, all of it. No, you just stay in the shower. Carry on in the shower and carrying on soaping yourself. The paint will come off. 100% guaranteed. If we don't make any offenses to Vaishnavas and Guru. That's important, of course. And while we chant, progress not only increasing our rounds up to continuous chanting, but also offenseless chanting, that we can improve the quality of our rounds. There's these 10 offenses, so we should avoid all of them. If we chant offenselessly, or at least nama bas, then that is a very high stage. If we can get out of this nam aparat chanting and come to the platform of nama bas, the shadow of the pure holy name. So there is sometimes someone is approaching us from behind in the bright daylight, sunshine, and we see the shadow. The person is not yet close to us. The shadow is first there. So that is approaching the shadow. So Namabhas is a shadow of the pure holy name. So first the shadow, and then we carry on, and then the shadow has actually the real thing behind it. So we progressing from Namabhas to Shuddha Nam, pure chanting. But we need to avoid all the offenses. The first offense, the third offense are important, the last offense, and not inattentive while chanting. Just 2-3 offenses are really important for us. Nobody thinks the demigods are on the same level with Krishna and so on. Nobody is minimizing the Vedic scriptures. Not really. But to maintain material attachment, that is what you're talking about. Chuan Prabhu, you hold on. Material attachment. If I let it go, maybe I will be losing something. Well, we'll try. Have you lost anything by having given up 20-30%? No, we only gain. So our faith grows stronger and stronger, and we chant offenselessly, and then we are on a completely different level of our Krishna consciousness. But let's keep the process. Let's keep standing in the shower. If you go out of the shower, you lose hope. Oh no, this pain is not coming off so easily. Maybe I should adopt a different process. Maybe I need some white spirit to clean it off or whatever. No, just follow the process Srila Prabhupada has given us, and the cleaning will come automatically. It may take a little bit of time. Okay. Anything else? Any other question? So this was very wonderful verse selected. Amrita Ratimatachi. Rituan, do you want to select the verse for next week? Let me know a little bit in advance, a day in advance if you can.
Okay, Prabhu.
Any verse which would you like to hear, which we can discuss for the benefit of everyone? Yes?
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, here we stop.
Hare Krishna.
Padma, Hare Krishna.
Say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See you on Saturday.
Yes, Prabhu.